going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week we're talking about what makes a good trainer setup and how to improve yours at your own home. But before we get into today's video, if you are new to my channel, make sure you head down below, hit that subscribe button for me. If you already are subscribed, make sure you hit that bell icon down below as well. That way you get notified every time I upload. That way you don't miss this awesome cycling content we got on this channel. So like I said, today we're talking about a bike trainer setup. What makes a really good bike trainer setup for yourself? Now today here in Reno, about 10 degrees where I'm at. It's freaking cold right now. That's why we're inside today, because I don't really feel like going outside in my garage. So let's talk about what I have for my setup and what makes a good trainer setup. So in my case, my pain cave or my trainer central, it's actually in my office. This is where I edit my videos. Right over on this side is my computer. So I do all of that in this room. So I have my trainer set up here pretty much full time, especially when it comes to the winter. That way it's just ready to go. If the weather's really crappy outside, or it's not warm, I can hop in here and get on the bike and do a nice trainer ride. So let's talk about how I get myself out to ride on a trainer. So riding indoors, yeah, it sucks versus going outdoors a lot of times. It's much more fun to be outside, experiencing nature, experiencing the world around you, actually going somewhere. It makes a big difference versus just riding inside on your bike. And I can definitely understand that. Doing a longer indoor trainer ride, it's a little rough sometimes. Some ways that I help motivate myself to actually get on the trainer and get rid of the excuses is I actually have all my gear set out the night before. So in my case, I have a set of bibs right here, I got my heart rate monitor here, I got my cycling shoes down here with a pair of socks. I make sure the rear tire is up to this proper pressure the night before so I don't have to worry about that. And up on top I have my gloves and as well as my TV remotes, which we'll talk about in a second. So I have all that ready to go, as well as a water bottle in the fridge ready to put my hydration mix in and ready to go in the morning. So that's one of the ways I get myself to go on an indoor trainer ride, kind of get rid of those excuses of not having everything ready. Is just to have everything ready the night before. That way I don't have that as an excuse in the morning. Now actual trainer setup here. So this is my Trek 1.2 road bike that I have. It's pretty much as it is when I ride on the road. The only difference is I have my trainer wheel and my trainer tire on here. I have a whole separate wheel so I can swap the wheel in and out if I need to for riding on the road, outdoor conditions, and riding indoors. So I can swap that whole wheel out, same cassette. Everything's the same, so it's nice and easy to swap between riding outside and indoors if I want to. I have my Vittoria Zafiro Pro trainer tire on here. That's specific for bike trainers, so it's made to stand up to the higher temperatures of riding in one place and the high temperature of the metal barrel that it rolls on. So it's just made to do a whole bunch more miles than you would be able to on a normal tire. Plus it saves my nice Continental GP 5000s for nice road rides and make sure they don't wear out too quick. Now with this bike, I've used multiple different trainers in the past. I have my basic magnetic trainer, which is in my garage right now. Did a whole rebuild on that if you haven't checked that out so you can see how it actually functions as a magnetic trainer. Right now I'm using a Cyclops fluid trainer right back here. And I like the fluid trainer a lot more than magnetic just because it's quieter is really the big thing. The magnetic trainer is always making noise. The fluid trainer is pretty quiet, pretty easy. It adjusts the resistance as you pedal faster. It gets a little bit harder to pedal, just like it would be on the road. It gets harder to keep that momentum up. So I really like the fluid trainer. So if you had to pick one and you're looking for something kind of quiet inside your house, the fluid trainer is by far the way to go. However, you're looking just to start off, there's nothing wrong with a magnetic trainer at all. At least to start off with. You can always upgrade later onto a fluid trainer. It's not really a big deal at all there. So we'll kind of move from the back to the front of my setup here. So after that, we of course have our Uzi sweat guard here. I did a review on this. Essentially it just velcros onto the handlebars and goes back and slips around the seat post back here. And it just keeps your sweat from actually dropping on the frame. Sweat with salt, kind of corrosive. So you don't want to get that on your frame and leave it on your frame. So this helps protect pretty much where you're sweating the most, right up at your head. Is where it protects and keeps them getting on the frame. So I really like that. Is it completely necessary? No, you can definitely wipe down your bike after a ride, but for me, just nice peace of mind knowing my bike isn't going to get a whole bunch of sweat on it when I'm doing a hard workout. Now I do like to track my indoor rides. Now if you're on an outdoor ride, it's pretty easy. You stick on your Strava or your Garmin computer or whatever you got to track your mileage, and it's pretty easy. It just does its job and it works. However, when you're sitting in place, that doesn't really work very well. It's not tracking any GPS signal. You're not moving anywhere, although you're putting out a whole bunch of work. So what I've done to keep track of my rides indoors is I actually have a speed and cadence sensor from Cat Eye on here. And all that really is this little sensor here that zip ties onto the rear triangle, and then it has a magnet that goes onto your left crank arm, as well as a magnet that goes onto one of your spokes. And pretty much through those two it tracks the speed your bike is going at and then the cadence that you're pedaling at. And with those two sensors, you're pretty much able to track everything you would if you're to be on an outdoor ride. You're able to track your speed that you're going, your mileage. That's all going to be able to sign up to a computer or an app or whatever you're using, all through just that one sensor. So it really makes a difference. It's making it feel like I'm actually doing something, just being able to track my indoor rides somehow. So we'll come to this fancy guy right here. So this is my Wahoo trainer table here. Kind of fancy thing. You don't necessarily need one of these. I was able to pick this up at Goodwill for a ridiculous price, but this is definitely not something that's necessary. However, it makes a big difference. So with this guy, what it does is it has 3 wheels in the shape to pretty much go around your bike down here. So you're able to roll this guy back right here, and it kind of keeps it tucked away for storage. It doesn't stick out past your bike. Realistically, it's about the width of my pedals, handlebars, about the same width, so it doesn't take up a whole bunch more room than just your bike setup would be. But when it's all the way back here, if you were to sit up on your saddle, you'd be able to go ahead and type on your computer or do some work, whatever you want to do, nice and easy. And then if you're ready to go do some hard pulls, you push that guy forward, and then you can do a strong workout all up on the bars without this being in the way. And then when you're ready to take a cool down, you can roll this guy back up here over your bars and keep on going with what you were working on. Now again, this guy definitely not necessary to have at all. This is, I think this table's like $300 or something. So I mean, there are a lot of different ways around this. However, from going from not having a table or something along these lines to having one, it's pretty nice to have. Look, gives me a spot to put my gloves up here so they're with the bike all the time. Gives me a spot to put my TV remotes all up here. Gives me a spot to put my phone. Gives me a spot to put whatever I want to have while I'm on my bike without having to pull up a separate chair or something next to it and reach down. It's all within arm's reach. And just being able to roll this guy forward and back depending on what I'm doing, it's pretty nice to have. So that's what I have here. Is it necessary for your trainer setup? No, but it definitely helps if you were to find something like this. So from there, we'll come over to the front wheel. So if you've ever set a bike up on a trainer, you know that the back wheel is kind of lifted a few inches off the ground, couple inches off the ground. So when you go to put your bike on there, your bike kind of sits like this, where this is your handlebars, this is the rear wheel. And it definitely put a lot of weight on your hands by having it like in that position. So I used to ride just like that for a long time on the trainer. Then I decided I want to stack books under it and see if we can get it to level up, and we leveled it up with a couple books. Now that worked pretty good. Now of course, books not the best thing to use when you're sweating on your bike. Sweat gets on the books. Not exactly a great thing. So I did pretty much grab myself a couple blocks here. These are like 3 blocks of, I don't know, half inch material or something like that I just had in my garage. I pretty much put them together and made it so that this bike would be level. I stuck a level on there. I pretty much made this little block here. Completely free, just in my garage. Couple screws. Pretty simple, pretty easy process. Now, this guy works pretty good. The problem is, sometimes your wheel will want to fall off the edges. If you look at an actual block that these trainer companies sell, there's normally an edge on there and a kind of a groove to sit your tire in. This doesn't have that, so as you can tell from that there, that's much wider than my tire actually is. So, you can see the tire kind of moved back and forth a little bit. It's not exactly my favorite thing, but it definitely worked for a completely free project for myself to get the bike sitting a little better. Recently, I just upgraded from those blocks to kind of a movable block here with different height levels on it. And what that does is allows you to be kind of in your standard riding position as well as get to an incline position as well if you want to feel like you're climbing. This, I would say, is one of the biggest things that I would say helps a lot. If you don't have a block to go with your bike trainer to level out the front, get one. That makes a huge difference, whether that's buying your own little block or making your own. Just something to level out the front of your bike makes a big difference, especially when you're sitting here hours and hours and hours riding your bike. Get yourself a front block. It's going to make a world of difference in your training. So we're getting to the end here. Next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the air movement in your room. So if you're just there on your bike riding in one place, you're going to sweat. It's going to be hot. You don't have any air blowing past you to cool you off, to evaporate the sweat. You don't have any of that. So it's kind of rough to just sit on a bike trainer with no air movement at all. So in my case, I've done multiple things over the past. I've had a box fan in front of my bike. That's probably one of my favorite ones because you can aim it directly at your face, put that guy on full blast, and you're getting blasted with nice, cool air the whole time. However, in this room here, I don't have a box fan. I have a ceiling fan instead. So the ceiling fan, so I'm able to kick that guy on high right before I get going. Now generally gets the air moving enough that it feels pretty comfortable in here. Now when it's nicer weather outside, I can crack the window open as well and the fan, and we can get some nice cool air blowing around in here, nice fresh air. But during the winter time, that's not really possible. That's not really something I want to do. It's pretty cold outside, so I just kick the ceiling fan on, moves enough air to make me feel comfortable and keep me riding on my bike for a long time without dying and overheating. And really the last thing I want to talk about is you're going to need some way to entertain yourself while you're on your bike indoors. Unless you're some superhero that can go and sit on a bike for hours and hours and hours with nothing. Just by yourself, no headphones, no TV, no book, nothing. You can just sit there on your trainer bike and just ride and ride and ride. If you are, congratulations. If you're not, welcome to the rest of us. So, in my case, I have a TV right up behind you guys, and that's what I watch. I have my TV, I have shows, I have specific shows that I have that I will watch when I'm on my trainer. I don't watch them any other time except when I'm on my trainer. And that gives me motivation and something to look forward to when I'm on my bike. If I'm here on the bike on the trainer, I'm watching one of those shows on there. Now, of course, you can have all sorts of stuff. Now, for me, I have my old PlayStation up there. So if I want to play a quick PlayStation game, while I'm riding my bike, I can do that. It gives me a chance to do some fun stuff while I'm on my bike. It's not just grinding away mindlessly for hours and hours and hours. It's at least finding some way to entertain my mind while I'm physically working out my body. So find some way to entertain yourself, whether it's a good book, a laptop, doing some work, watching a TV show, whatever that may be. Find some way to entertain yourself. Make it somewhat a fun experience while you're grinding away indoors and it's too cold outside to go ride. So I'm glad you guys were able to join me today and check out my trainer setup that I have here. I've worked a long time at setting up a good training spot for me to be indoors at, especially now that I'm here in Nevada. It's cold a lot of the year and really windy other times, and I just don't feel like going outside a lot of times. This makes a big difference just to get away from the weather and the conditions and just get a ride in when you don't feel like really going outside and get ready to go outside. So hopefully you guys learned something or at least found it entertaining. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Any of the products I talked about in today's video, I'm going to link in the description down below so you guys can check them out for yourselves and get your trainer set up all dialed in. If you have any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Love talking to you guys, love answering any questions you guys have, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.